All right. Well, hey, good morning. Dennis Cummins here. Truth is freedom. So glad that you could join with us today. Um, Big question today: is your money safe? Are banks safe? What's going on? We got the CBDC, which is going to be rolling out sometime this year, the central bank digital currency. But the issue is, how do they move us from one side to the other? I know a lot of people don't use cash, but cash is still a big deal. And so I just want to give you a couple of thoughts of what's going on right now. A lot of people aren't aware of. People are, well, we got FDIC insurance. We should be fine. The banks will take care of us. That's my money. A lot of people don't understand that actually you're loaning your money to the bank, and so now when it goes there, it's not your money anymore. Um, Kind of crazy to think about that, isn't it? Um, but check this out: the FDIC only has about $200 billion in assets to insure over 9 trillion dollars. Okay, 200 billion in assets to insure $9 trillion in the system. That means here's the amount of insurance that you have. So when they say, "Hey, you're insured up to $200,000 per account owner," it's not per account, but it's per account owner. That means really only 1.6% of your money is insured. Okay, it's not $200,000. If you have $200,000, um, you're only going to have 1.6% of that insured. And I think there's a lot that is being missed. A lot of people, they're so busy trying to figure out if I'm going to get a gallon of gas or a gallon of milk this week. They're really not concerned about what's going on in the banking system until you show up to your bank and try to get something out of your bank. Bank of America is having some major issues. They're being slammed after money is being disappeared. And we'll talk more about this down the road, but they're also dealing with issues with Zelle payments. Customers are saying, "Where's my deposits?" We're also seeing other institutions taking up to 10 business days suddenly to process. So they're holding your funds up to 10 business days. When's the last time you actually tried to take a decent size amount of money out of your bank? 5,000, 10,000. Just try it and see what happens. See how easy it is or not easy it is to get your money. But here's something that's very, very interesting. In 2010, the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform Act was passed. And basically, the last bailout, that was a bailout, 2007, 8, all of the banking, we called it a banking crisis, but really it was just an exchange of wealth. So, really, what happened is we apparently passed this new law because they were bailed out. The banks were bailed out because they were ready to collapse, um, because they were putting money in spots that they shouldn't be putting money in. And the housing market collapsed, bonds collapsed, and boom, there you go. So we came up with all the stimulus money to bail out the banks. But in the end, we're paying for it, right? Through inflation, through devaluing our money because we're printing more of it. And so what they did was they passed this Dodd-Frank Act in 2010, which means that there's not going to be any more bailouts. But legally, what they did was they did a pass this law so that it would be a bail-in act. So a lot of people really don't understand what this means, but a bail-in act literally means that instead of the government funding and taking care of and rescuing the banks, the depositors are going to rescue the banks. And that means that the government doesn't come to the rescue. They just simply take our money, our deposit money, so the banks don't collapse. Doesn't sound very good, does it? But it is a reality by which we are facing. Okay. So these are just some small little things that I want you to think about because um, it's important to have some cash on hand. Make sure that you have some cash on hand because the FDIC is actually, um, and this is in a video in their meeting this last November 2022. They were talking about the run on the banks and how basically they would have to shut down on a Friday. Why a Friday? Well, wow. That means there is no banking uh, activity. That means you go to the store, they can't function. Credit card machines are down, ATMs are down. Um, so what does that mean? That means that on a Friday they're going to shut everything down, and they're going to say, "Hey, it's okay. We're going to move out to this new central digital currency, and and you'll be fine. Well, the people that are still gonna have control and the people that are still gonna be able to operate are some people that have some cash on hand. And so I just wanna encourage you, get some cash on hand, maybe some, precious metals, something in small denominations that you can still function because we have no idea, when it's coming or how exactly it's gonna happen, but we do know that it's gonna happen. This is why all of the central banks around the world are stockpiling gold. They have bought more gold and they've moved more gold into their reserves in history, more than in history. So what that means is the US dollar used to be the top tier asset. It used to be the key asset of reserve currency. Now it is no longer the top tier asset. Gold is, and that just happened this last year or 2 years ago. And so what that tells us is there is a massive shift that's going to happen, but that means that the digital currency has to be tied to something of value. Okay. And some people are you like Bitcoin, some people you like precious metals, some people you like cash, some people they like to keep their head in the sand and pretend that nothing's going on. Well, the bail-in is a reality. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. All I'm saying is be prepared and don't be a victim. If you got a company with a lot of cash, you need to move your money into multiple banks. Don't leave all your money in one bank. You need to diversify because even though that FDIC insurance is 200,000, it's not per account; it's per account holder. So you might have several accounts, and you're like, well, each account's under 200,000, so it's insured. No, it's not. Um, so these are just things to be thinking about, so that way you can be ready. You can pivot. It doesn't mean that the world's going to end. It just means you don't have to be a victim of this transitional crisis that could take place. Okay, we do know that we're having challenges in our very complex supply chain that we've created, and it's successful for a while, but as the geopolitical scale is shifting, that means that trade is shifting. And that means that what used to work in our trade and in our infrastructure of moving products, goods, and services, all of that is changing as well. And I don't know if you've checked, but this whole thought of, hey, inflation's 8% or it might be double digit. Well, that's interesting because I'm seeing stuff that used to cost $10 is $20 now. I'm seeing things that is 100% inflation, and so you just got to be careful that you don't believe everything the news cycle is telling you. All right, so this is something you need to be in prayer about. This is something that you need to be aware of, and we're just going to continue to work on these things to help you be better educated. And don't forget, like, subscribe, get this information out because this is vital to help people be successful in these transitory times. Okay, thank you. God bless.